Oh, here we are again. Here we are, YouTube. Hold on. Let me delete my little thumbnail board. The thumbnail board. Good afternoon, YouTube, though. Damn, let me tell you, I almost died last night. True story. I had a malfunction in the furnace, and all my carpet alarms are going off. Not good. It's like 7 in the morning, but we're all alive, and heating people are coming to deal with the situation. And yeah, everything will be okay. So that's the non-exciting part of the story, is that I almost died last night. But I will tell you this story about the time that I was bit through my Achilles tendon. It wasn't fun. The story's off to a raring start. First thing I need you to do, smash the thumbs up button on the video if you could. Appreciate you guys. Smash the thumbs up button. Make sure you watch the latest video that I post. What was it? It was a video that I filmed, that I shot with Hulk the other day. Just a little short that we put up, but he was looking good. So, anyways, how's everybody been? Make sure we smash the thumbs up button. Give it a share if possible. Appreciate you. Yeah, I almost died. Yeah, last night. Yeah. I'll tell you that story another time. But it's not, there's not really too much to it. My furnace had like a malfunctioned and was pissing carbon into the house, and it wasn't good. So the heating people are coming to handle the situation. It's like 7 and all the carbon alarms are going off. The house is like filled with it was not good. But everything's cleared out. Everybody's good. Everything's okay. Everybody's fine. We need more thumbs. We got 36 people in here and 10 thumbs. We need at least 36 thumbs. Come on. Don't be stingy with your fingers. Appreciate you guys. We get to telling this story. Oh, Elizabeth. So I'm going to tell you the story. So, all right. So a lot of you guys probably saw the vlog, because this is actually I did a vlog during this time period, actually, when I was like going to the doctors and everything. But kind of can explain what happened. It's been a while since I've thought about this situation, though. Honestly, it's been quite a while since I thought about it. But all I remember is I remember making a joke about getting being bit or something. I remember I don't quite exactly remember, but I remember in the beginning of the video, I was like, yo, be careful what you wish for. Oh, I showed an image of my foot from before, like this, because I got bit on the same foot. So I was like showing an image in one of the vlogs before, and like the next day, I ended up getting bit through my Achilles. So that's why the vlog starts off with me saying, be careful what you wish for. All right, it was the way I like titled the video. It was something, it's been so long that like I can't like quite remember the correlation of that. But anyways, projection is a very scary thing, okay? So it was a normal day, like any day. I had a couple people down. I think I had Jeff and Isaac down, two of my friends and decoys that, we do a lot of the, protection work with. I had them down. I don't know who else was here, but I think just the regulars, like Derek was here, Lisa, the regulars. So, it's like I should have thought about the story a little bit harder before I went to do a story time, because I haven't thought about this in like quite a while. But it all happened in the kitchen. Okay, no, I remember what happened. All right, so Hercules and Dynasty were down in the living room. What's up, new member? What's up? What's good? Appreciate you. Welcome. Yes, new members of the channel. I appreciate you. Welcome, Bobby O'Day. What's up? What's up? Yo, we're going to get cracking with the member content on this channel, too. So, I appreciate you for joining. Thank you for squatting up with us. So, anyways, downstairs in my kitchen, like the kitchen is generally like the proving grounds in my house. Like that's a lot of time where I have a lot of the puppies, because where most of us spend a lot of the time, obviously it's like the center of the house. So there's a lot of time in there. Either like right now the kids are in there. Jordan's like doing some schoolwork on a laptop. Lisa's in there. It's just like the most central area of the house. So I try to have the new dogs that are like learning in the kitchen, you know, so we can all kind of be around them and they can get the most interaction. So Hercules and Dynasty were always down there because they were just good dogs, you know. They were good with the puppies, you know. They were just always kind of good with that. So, damn, I'm not gonna remember who it was that started it, honestly. But yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember. So this is gonna be the poor part of the story. But I guess the dogs' names aren't gonna matter. But so two of the dogs in the kitchen ended up getting into a little bit of a fight. So they started to get into it in the kitchen. I believe I was upstairs because Lisa was outside in the car. Lisa was like getting ready to leave. So she was outside in the car with the kids, and just in the house was just Isaac and Jeff, and Derek. And I was upstairs, I believe. So I was here where I'm at in my office, and all of a sudden they started getting into it. So I could hear it. So I came running down my stairs, and I remember Hercules. I saw Hercules was getting into it with somebody. I don't quite remember who the dogs were that were involved, to be honest. I just remember Hercules because I straddled him. So I like stepped over him so he was in between my legs. And I like kind of pinched my knees to hold him because I got him. Because right away I yelled at them and they stopped, so they let go, but they were still barking at each other and it was still hostile in the room. So I didn't even realize that behind me when all this was going on, a dog had come down the stairs and came through the gate behind me. But I didn't even realize, and I guess there was people sitting on the stairs, but they were like too nervous to try to stop the dog. I think it's just when Isaac was just coming around my house, so he was like, not trying to get in the way. They're big dogs, you know what I mean? So when they're fired up, it's pretty scary. So I don't blame them for not wanting to grab the dog. So he came down, the dog came down behind me through the gate, and I just remember all of a sudden, like, my leg was moving. And I was like, I didn't remember, like, why the fuck my leg was just, like, moving around. I didn't feel any pain or anything. But I'm standing like this, and I got Hercules on my legs. So he came in. I know what happened. He came in and thinking that he was going to grab Hercules by the leg. And as that happened, I, like, slid forward, and I, like, turned. So he grabbed right onto the back of my, like, right onto the back. I'll show you the scar and after when I'm done telling you the story. But he grabbed right onto the back of my ankle, right? Like, right onto my Achilles, like, right on there. And like I said, I didn't feel anything at first. And all of a sudden, I feel, like, my leg moving. And I'm, like, I moved probably, like, 5 feet, right? And I feel my leg moving. And I look down and I'm like, yo, the dog is biting me, yo. And I like, it took me a second. It probably took me like, I don't know, 5-6 seconds to realize that was actually happening. And when I actually realized that he was biting me is when he shook his head. So that was when, so he shook his head and my legs started shaking. That's when I really realized that he was biting me. So I was like, oh shit. So right away when I realized all that, I obviously yelled at the dog. The second he realized that it was me, he, like, let go and literally turned around and went, like, rushing back up the stairs. It's, like, bounced out of the room, up the stairs. And I'm, like, sitting I'm in my kitchen, so I'm on my floor now. I'm, like, sitting down. It's like, now I feel it. Now I feel it. So I'm, like, screaming, like, fucking, yo, dog, he just bit me, like, fuck. And I'm looking down on my leg, and all I see is, like, red. Like, all I see is blood. Like, I, like, lift up my pant leg, and all I can see, my sock is just, like, completely red. So I'm just like, okay, like, this is fucked. Like, this sucks. So I started, like, hobbling upstairs. I get weird when I get hurt. Like, I get weird. So I was just, like, really upset, probably for, like, the first, like, 5 minutes. And I went upstairs, and I'm just fucking cursing myself. And I don't know. That's just how I am when I get hurt sometimes. I just, like, I get upset. So And I'm thinking, I'm like, man, it's middle of winter. Like, I'm not gonna be able to walk. And like, I'm just going through everything that was gonna happen. Like, all the bad is just hitting me all at once. You know what I mean? So that's like what it was feeling like. And so after probably 5 minutes goes by, like I settle back down and I have my shoe off now. So I took my shoe off, and I'm in like extreme pain. Like, I mean, it is like extreme. So I'm looking at my sock and I'm like, I don't want to take my sock off because like I can see like little pieces of flesh and like it looks bad. So I'm like, all right, dude, I'm not trying to peel off my sock and like peel off like a tendon or like something gross. So I just left my sock on, and honestly, you guys are gonna be like, bro, you're such a dumbass. But honestly, I was like, man, fuck it. Like, I don't want to go to the hospital right now. Like, I'll go tomorrow or something. So that was what my plan was. I was like, man, just give me some ice, give me like some Advil, and like I'm fine. Like, I'll just be here. I'll go in tomorrow. It was like kind of, I believe it was like, I don't know, it's kind of in the evening. So, when you just don't want to go do the whole fucking hours and hours in the fucking hospital and fucking sitting around, and I just wasn't in the mood for it right then and there. Hercules was fine. Hercules, they were fine. The dogs that were in it was like a real small little squabble. They were perfectly, everybody was fine. I was, I was not fine. Everybody else was 100% fine. So, anyways, I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'm just gonna go to bed and I'm gonna go tomorrow. So I wake up the next day and my foot is like a fucking balloon, Like, it didn't even look like a foot. Like, it's just like my whole entire ankle and foot. This is I'll repost. So what I'm gonna do is I'll repost this vlog. Right, I'll like find it and I'll repost it because it was actually it's a pretty good one. So I'll repost it so you guys can watch it after this if you want to see the vlog. I'm gonna repost that Hulk Life so you can watch the whole thing in entirety. It's pretty much me just talking about it and going around and going to different doctors because I didn't realize how like severe it was until I started getting to the doctors. So I went to the hospital first. And they were pretty concerned that I had a ruptured, like, that my Achilles was ruptured, but they weren't able to really do anything. Like, they weren't the place that I needed to be, the hospital. I needed to go and see specialists. So yeah, Brandy, here's what I'm gonna do. Here, I've made you a mod. All right. So, I mean, we don't want to ban, you know me. I don't want to, we just want to give warnings and stuff. So, yeah, I see you. Bro, shout out. Nah, my man. I see you, brother. I'm just trying to get through telling this story to you guys. So anyways, yeah, I get to the hospital and they start checking me out. And the next thing I know, I'm like going around to like all the different hospitals. So actually, no, that's not what happened, man. See, it's been too fucking long. So I go to the hospital and they were like, all right, listen, it's pretty bad, but I don't think they were like that concerned like just yet. They were like, okay, antibiotics because it's dirty, get it clean, and that was kind of it. So I went home, and like 3 or 4 days went by, and then things seeming like they were getting a little bit better, and after like 3 days, dude, my foot again was like fucking massive. So then I woke up and I'm like, all right, I think I got to go back to the doctor. So I went back to the doctor, and right away they were like wanting me to go and get like MRIs and like CAT scans because they thought that I was going to have a blood clot. So I think that's what they were like most concerned about, is that I was going to have a blood clot or something, something like that. So I'm going around to all these different specialists. This shit goes on for like 2 days because, I had to go to different, like I had to drive far to some of them. One of them was like 3 hours away from my house that I had to go to. But I'll play the vlog so you can get all the like details. Because thinking back on this, I'm like, bro, I probably should have watched the vlog first before I go to tell the story. Because it's been so long that I don't like really remember. I don't really remember everything. You know what I mean? I remember like bits and pieces, but I don't remember everything. But I do remember the doctors being pretty concerned. Once we got to that point, they were like pretty concerned, and I was like, why are they concerned? Like, what are they like thinking? Like, and I think what the concern was is blood clot and clotting and like losing a limb type of thing, which like they weren't really like telling me at the time because there was a pretty nasty infection going on too. So like that's what was happening. Even though I'd already had antibiotics, somehow I ended up getting like a really bad infection, and it was infecting inside of, my back of my ankle. And they at the time they didn't know that my Achilles was ruptured. So when I went to the second day, when I went to like the specialist, that was far away. That was like 3.5 hours from my house. And I went in there, and I remember I brought Kobe and Hulk with me. I don't know why, but I remember I had them with me, and I was thinking I was just gonna go and like get a checkup and be the fuck up out of there. But I remember I'm in the doctor. I'm in the hospital, and they're checking me out, and they're at this point they're telling me like, okay, they know now that like my Achilles, like I have a ruptured Achilles. My Achilles is and I got a wicked infection. So I knew that. But I was at a place where there was a lot of like internist doctors. So it was like really weird, that it was like you'd get somebody that would come in and talk to you, and they'd ask you these questions, and you'd feel like, all right, hey, like I can get some info from you. And then they'd be like, oh no, I'm not the doctor. And they would like leave, but they just asked you all of these questions, and then just disappear. And they sent like 3 or 4 of these people in there, and I didn't realize that I was at like a college where basically like they're like learning at the same time. So I hadn't actually talked to the actual doctor yet, but they're sitting here telling me, all right, well, I need to get surgery. So they're getting ready to prep me for surgery. And I'm like, yo, I got my dogs are like outside of my car. Like I'm the only one here. My wife is at home, like far away. Like I need to be able to get to my car. Like I need to be able to leave here real quick, get to my car, check on my dogs. So I have to like go outside. Like, I need to be able to leave this little bed thing and get you guys to unhook me real quick so I can crutch my ass downstairs and go make sure like, my dogs are okay outside, because I had my dogs, like I said, they're in the car. Like, they're in the car. I mean, it's winter. So mind you, it's like winter, and obviously they're not in the car like with the windows up or anything crazy. They're in the car with a little crack of the window, so they were staying warm. But when I went out to the car, like I went out, they were literally just curled up like good dogs, like always. Hulk and Kobe just sitting in the back chilling. So I actually had somebody drive up. So I had Lisa and somebody drive up and pick them up, because at that time I was thinking that I was gonna go into surgery. So when I finally got to talk to the doctor, which was like fucking hours after that, I was probably at this place for like 6-7 hours. So like when I finally got to talk to the doctor, he told me basically that there was like 2 options, and one of them was we go into surgery, like right now, get everything cleaned up, because the potential of the infection is really bad, and they want to get in there ASAP. Or he's like, well, or we can start you on this really like intensive course of like drip antibiotics, and we don't go into surgery. And I was asking him, I'm like, well, what do you say we do? Like what do you say that we should do in this situation? Because the dog had bit into my Achilles, so it like put like a hole through my part of my Achilles. So it was gnarly. I'll show you the scar. But I guess it wasn't bad enough to the point of where they really just needed to get rid of the infection. Like that was the biggest problem, was the infection, and the rest of the process, rest of my ankle could heal on its own. So I was like, all right, shit, if I don't have to do surgery, like let's not do all that. Let's just do this antibiotic, like drip thing. But I had to come back there. So I had to drive back and forth to this place to get this like antibiotic drip. For I think it was like 10 days that I had to do it. So I had to go back and forth. It was a real pain in the ass. But rather than have a surgery and be off of my feet for much longer, I thought that was like the best option, for me. So, they dressed up my foot. Obviously, I was in this like walking cast for, I don't know, I think probably about a month, probably a little over a month. The timing, I really don't remember, but I remember I was in a walking boot for a while, and I was on crutches. And it took a little while to regain like movement, in my foot. And they told me that my foot may never feel the same, and I may never really like be as flexible as I ever was in that foot, which I believe I am. I believe I got it back. there's also a lot of numbness, you know, that I still have back there. Like, I don't have full feeling, you know, back there anymore, which is fine. It's like the back of my leg. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, it was quite the fiasco. You know, it was quite the fiasco. Like, I mean, I think, like I said, I probably should have watched the vlog, so I would have had a like little refreshing memory of what was going on, because I don't. This was years ago. This is probably like, honestly, what, this was probably like 5 years ago at this point. How often have the mini tanks taken you out at the knees when you're just roughhousing? I've been hurt loads of times just playing with the dogs. It happens. You know, they're big, man. You know what I mean? So it happens. You know, I mean, their playing is and their tolerance to things is a lot higher than yours. You know, so and I play full out rough with them. You know what I mean? I'm just like another big dog with them. But this situation, we weren't playing. It was a situation where two dogs had got into it, and one of my dogs had come down from, like I said, from the stairs behind, and ended up biting the back of my leg, thinking that they were biting another dog. So that's how this happened. Nobody was playing. It was an argument over something, and I wasn't in the kitchen, so I don't know what actually initially started this. But yeah, I mean, take my damn shoe off. I'll show you the scar. I also have one on the top of my foot too. What's funny is, like, I have one on the top of my foot, and the craziest part about this is same dog. So, ew, my feet are gross. All right, you see that one? That's the top of my foot. That's when I got bit through the top of my foot. You see these? Actually, that right there is recent. That's from Raiden putting his toenail through my foot. That's what that's from. But this here, that was when I got 13 stitches through the top of my foot. And the Achilles is in the back, so you can see here. Damn, I got some dry ass skin, but you see right there, the bites were here and here. Maybe you can. It's hard to. Holy shit! It's hard to get the angle on that. There you go. Now you can see it. Right. So you see those bites right there, bro. Give some space. I'm trying to do something. There we go. All right. There we go. All right. There you go. Now you can see it. All right. So yeah, that's where I got right there. Drake's over here being nosy shit. So yeah, I haven't looked at that scar in a minute, but that's the scar from the event. I will post the vlog so you can actually see the vlog and like watch it in detail and have me talk about it, not sounding like a dumbass, and you can actually like clearly hear what happened and, you know, how it all went. So I will find that vlog and I will repost it for you guys just shortly here. Maybe like give me about an hour, and you should see it up, and you can actually just go and watch it for yourself then, and you can actually just experience it in the moment, because that was me telling the story as it was happening. This is me telling the story like 5-6 years later, however long it's been. So it probably was a bit choppy and sucked. So if this story time sucked, I apologize, but it will be. The good news is that it's followed by the fictional. Excuse my brain, okay? Like I said, I woke up at 6:40 to carbon alarms going off in my house because my furnace malfunctioned last night, and it got crazy. So, haven't slept too much, so excuse me, okay? But anyways, what I was saying is you can watch this, and then you can go right into watching like the real-time version of me telling the story in the moment, which is probably a whole lot better than me telling the story right now. But other than that, how is everybody out there in the world? How are you guys doing? You have any questions or comments? Now we'll see too if I can answer them. I have a scar on my foot. Got bit by a German Shepherd. I've been bit by a German Shepherd before. Oh, Barb, it's a good one. It's a good one. I'm gonna find it, and I think I have it. I have it in my storage bank here. The bite was probably bad enough, but the shake probably did the damage. Oh, of course. Hey, Kobe looked great, Mary of Kingstown. Oh, thank you, Matt. Yeah, the shake is... Look, all right, so just... whenever dogs get into it, the actual issue is the shake. The shake is where the problems come. So if you have smaller dogs, right? If you have smaller dogs and they ever get into it, and you can pick the key is actually to pick them up, right? If you get them up off the ground, if you have people, then they can't do as much damage to each other. That's when they do the damage, is when they shake. That's when the damage actually happens. So you pick them up off the ground. And the other key too to separating dogs, if you ever have your dogs are getting into it, which if you have multiple dogs, it's gonna happen. So the best way to do this, people ask me this all the time. So the best way to do this is make sure that if you have multiple dogs in your house, make sure that they always have collars on. Okay, that's the best way to prevent anything crazy happening. Is make sure that your dogs are always wearing a collar. Then you have a way to separate them. Okay, so if your dogs get into it, the best way to separate them is if anybody's telling you to stick your hands in their mouth and, you know, get a break sticks and all this, so just don't. This is madness. Don't listen to any of this. Don't get, when dogs are in that mode, they will bite anything that touches them, even if it's a dog that's the dog you've had your whole life. If he's into it with another dog or something's going on, and he doesn't know, and like, they will literally bite anything that touches them. Like, that's how they go. So you don't want to be trying to grab them and touch them and stick your hands in their mouth and do it. Like, you will get bit. Okay, so the best thing to do is to take the collar, lift up on the collar until they let go. All right, so I know people in the world are going to be just like, but it's just like putting somebody in a chokehold and just subduing them for a second. It's the same thing. If they can't breathe, they can't bite, and that's how you separate dogs. And so this is the safest way for you and for them to separate dogs, and that's how we do it. Is hold up on the collar until they release. And I've had dogs that it looks like, you know, they sleep for a second and they wake right back up, just like you. So but yeah, I mean, when you're in an extreme situation, you know, and your dogs are getting into it, what's the choice that you're gonna make, right? Are you just gonna let it continue and sit there screaming and yelling, or are you actually gonna do something about it? And if you're gonna do something about it and stop it, that's the best way and the safest way for you and the dog to separate a dog fight. What's up, Jamie? John, where is Mia dog? Mia dog? See, I have a dog. There's a dog in the family named Mia. So I don't know if that's what you're talking about. You're talking about MIA, missing in action. I'm trying to understand your comment. Do you feed your dogs meat or just chow? I feed my dogs Caleb Genetics. So I have my own dog food. So I feed my dogs Caleb Genetics. So you can check it out at calebgenetics.com. And that is what I feed my dogs. Brandon, what's up, man? How you doing? Yo, did you get contacted about a book? I believe you were in the first 5 there. Yeah, send the email. All right, perfect. Brett, did you guys get my email with my address? If you sent it, she did. That would be Lisa. So she's the one that's handling all that stuff there. So that would be Lisa. If you sent it, she's pretty good with things like that. So. Ages of all my dogs. Okay. Wow. Shit. Okay. Well, Hulk is 9. And he's there. sleeping. Kobe, I believe, is 7, I think. Okay, Drake is a little over 1, so he's like 1.5. We're just gonna go through the house here. A lot of the it's like Amazon is about 6. Joni, what's up? Months old to 16 years. That's correct. Yeah, Tyson's down there. He's chilling. I can see him right now, sitting up on his little bed. So Tyson, yes, Tyson is 16. Okay, so I have a 16-year-old dog. Maui she had just recently passed. She was 15. Zion is 12. Gianna, I believe, is man, I want to say Gianna is 12 too. Ice is 10. Blade is 10. Yeah, they were right before. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Hercules and Dynasty are 7. Yeah, I have some old dogs, man. Netflix is what, 6 now? 7. I got some old dogs. The young dog, you new dogs are just young, you guys, the youngins. Vader, my Press Canario, man, he's like 8 now, bro. They're old. It's crazy, man. They're huge, man. That came quick. Like, I feel like it just blinked and they're old. Who was my first dog? My first dog was a dog named Thunder. It was a German Shepherd. And then my first pit bull was a dog named Damon. I had Cassius. And then I got Maya. Then General came along, Tyson. Then we did the breeding and King and Mia and all the dogs from that one. And then I ended up doing the breeding with General and Maya, and then Zion came around. Yeah. And then we did the breeding with Zion, and then Blade and Ice came around, and man, it's crazy to think about. It's crazy to think on it, honestly. How much do you charge to train a dog? It depends. Right now, I'm not really training too many dogs for the public. I mean, I have my boarding trains, so I have 4 dogs that I'm working with right now. But I generally don't. Right now, I don't do a lot of training for the public. Who is my biggest female? So, probably Stella, still. She has a daughter who Brandy is actually in here and has her daughter. So, I don't know quite how big her daughter is. Stella is probably about 160. Maybe 150 now. She's lost a little bit of weight. So, Stella's pretty big. Storm is big. Storm's probably about 135 or so. Storm's a big girl. Think about the girls. Big girls. I got some big girls in my franchises too. So Ella's 130. So yeah, that's big. I got some big girls in my franchises. Pandora is probably around 125, 130-ish. So yeah, I mean most of the female, like, that's the thing about females, right? So female dogs is the thing in the game that is like the least consistent. Like, you'll see people that'll have big females here and there, but to consistently be like, hey, I'm dropping 150-pound females, it's not really reality, right? It's like people aren't really doing that. Female size is kind of more hit or miss. I've had females from litters that were 85 pounds, and then they have a sibling that's like 120. And then, but the majority of them were between, 85 to 100. Males, on the other hand, male dogs, yeah, I mean, I've had multiple dogs over 170, 180, like, multiple big male dogs. 150 was pretty common, from my dogs. So, I just got one of my scales back though. The scale should be up and running in my new dog room, so we can actually get some actual weights on some of these dogs, so you can see the actual size of them. So. Heidi, I broken up my share of dog fights. Bouvier and a pit bull was the worst. I didn't have anything, so I broke hold with my arm. The dogs looked at me like I had lost my mind. I got skinned, but not hurt. Damn, at least you jumped into action. Could you take us through your house, introduce all dogs, especially the old ones? Not today, of course. I pressed through. Oh, definitely, Catherine, for sure. Joni, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm blessed. Wow, so happy they live longer lives than what's average. Yeah, I got old dogs. That's why I think it's funny. Thomas said, yeah. I don't know what the fuck that means. Do you have any experience with cane corsos? I've worked with cane corsos before. My female brindle is 120. Ah, nice. That's good size. I had badass ID. That's crazy. We a new weight on Hulk. Hopefully Hulk is fucking 150, but he's not. I hope we get some Calv in stores in my region, Belize, Central America. I have a puppy on chow now again, and I'd love to. I'd really love to. I'd love to get Calv more spread in different countries. It's one of my goals. It's on one of my, my goals for things that I need to get done, in my business in the coming months and years, is to spread Calv into different countries. So we'll probably start with Canada, but, we got to get into different countries ASAP. Oh, Dolly. Oh, what's up? Thank you. Frenchies. Oh, nice. Oh, I'll be here. Frenchies is people. There's loads of people that are into that. Thank you guys for the love. If we can get a couple more thumbs up on the video, appreciate you guys. Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna have to seek this video and post it now. If you ever had to choose which is easier to keep as a pet, Presa or a Corso, I mean, to me, they're dogs, so they're all easy to keep as pets. The way I deal with dogs is different. So if you're asking me specifically, it doesn't matter to me. It wouldn't matter. It's not gonna make a difference. How I raise a dog, has very little to do with what breed of dog it is. That doesn't really matter. It's all going to matter on how I raise a dog and, what type of things I implement into this dog's life. So for me, personally, it doesn't really matter. My process were super easy dogs to deal with. They're super chill. The cane corsos that I've dealt with were the same. Easy to train. They got some energy and they're big dogs, but super chill. You raise a dog a certain way, that's what you get. And I'm a pretty mellow person, so generally dogs around me are mellow. They take that same energy. I'm very assertive and strong person, but I'm calm. I'm not a person that is like, gets very hype and gets going crazy. So that's where you get a lot of that type of energy from dogs. I'm a very kind of even keel. I don't get too up, I don't get too down. I stay pretty much right in the middle, calm, cool, and collected, and that's the type of energy that dogs follow. So I've just had a way with dogs most of my life. We have an understanding. I rocked you, bro. I'm saying love from Boston, my fellow New England. What's up, yo? What up to Boston, yeah? What's good? Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Boston. I'm supposed to go back down there. I'm 22, and it's my first, honestly. I've always wanted those two types, and I would love to have one of those two as my first. They're good dogs, man. Listen, as long as you put in the time with a dog, right? Understand implementing proper structure into a dog's life, leadership. You give them these things. Breed doesn't matter. That's what I've spent a lot of my time trying to dispel. Is people believe in it's because of a certain breed that does. The reason why you read about, pit bulls a lot in the news, and you see these things in the news, is because, first of all, they're extremely powerful dogs, okay? But the first thing is, like, this is the most popular dog in the world. Like, everything is a pit mix or this or that, everything, right? So it's super popular. And you got people that have these dogs that, shit, they shouldn't have a gerbil, nonetheless have a fucking dog, especially a dog that has this kind of power. So that's the problem, is it's just, dogs end up in the wrong hands of people, and even people that mean well, that, like, mean well, or wanna be good with the dog, but just aren't. Some people just aren't meant to have this type of dog, but they still have it, right? And that's where a lot of these problems come from. A lot of time too, like, let's be truthful. A lot of these dogs, a lot of people that have these dogs are people that are out there not doing good things. That's the truth too. Or a lot of the circumstances that they come from are just not ideal. People have no skill in understanding what it is that they have, how to raise a dog, how to have control over a dog, how to be the leader in a situation. A lot of people are lacking these basic skills. And if you put those missing skills together with a very strong-minded and powerful dog, these is where you see these stories and these different things coming out. It has nothing to do with a breed of dog. It has to do with people not understanding how to have control over a dog and how to be the leader in the situation with a dog, right? So it has nothing to do with the breed of dog. It all has to do with ownership. It's all about how you raise a dog. That's what it's all about. So people just got it all backwards, with that. It's all about how you raise the dogs. I've been raising these dogs for years. I've never had any of these problems. It's so funny. I see people all the time that are like, see the video of, like, Hulk on the floor with my kids, like, way back in the day, like when they were babies. They're like, I don't know how he trusts this. And bro, I trust my fucking dog with the kids more than I trust my kids with some, like, freaking pedophile ass, like, babysitter somewhere, some creepy ass, weird ass human out here who's gonna do some funky shit, so I trust my dogs more than I trust people. All right, and that's the truth. And I've lived in peace and harmony with my dogs for many years. Yes, we've had incidents among dogs, and yes, I've had situations where a situation like that'll happen and I end up getting bit or somebody gets bit. Like, that has happened. But in situations with my children, never. There's, like, my just to put it clear, like, my dogs have never even growled at one of my kids, ever. There's never even been a close situation. All right, so, like, it's just, I understand in people's minds that's how they have things framed, like, and they're really in the game of, like, projecting things and having a lot of negative energy put on things. I don't live my life like that, like, and it's funny, like, there's this interview, I'll actually post it into the wall for you guys too. There's this interview where these guys were trying their hardest to get this reaction out of me, on live TV, that I was gonna, like, break and start, like, going off or whatever. And they didn't realize that they were messing with somebody that's pretty bulletproof, and shit like that doesn't faze me. And I stick to my story. They were trying up and down to get me to why it's so crazy that I have my kids around my dogs, and they're like, how are they left alone in these situations, looking at these videos? And I'm sitting here like, first of all, I'm like, yo, first of all, I just want to remind you of something. You know what I mean? Since we're all just people in this room, we're all logical fucking people, right? You said left alone in the room. Somebody's filming this video, So, therefore, they're not alone. Somebody's filming in this video. So, obviously, somebody's there, right? So, I mean, that would make basic sense to say, if you're watching a video, somebody filmed the video, right? So, like, my kids, when they were babies, weren't, like, just, like, I didn't, like, throw the dog in the crib and be like, all right, hey, watch him, we're going out to town. Like, I don't know where people's brains are at. You know what I mean? That's not how it was. But I also never lived in any type of fear where, my kids would be on the ground and with my dogs, would be all around with my dogs. Look, I made a whole video on my series, Dog Dynasty, about bringing Jackson home into the house. And, when you bring a child home, that child becomes higher than you. And the dogs know that, right? They know when the baby cries, you see mom and dad go running to the baby. These are the opposite things when it happens to dogs. If the dogs, if the dogs are crying or barking, they get ignored, Like, you know, it's like we ignore that type of behavior, right? So, like, generally, that's how it goes. Now, baby cries, everybody go running. So the dogs put together the level in where the children are at in the house, and that's way high. You know, so my dogs always knew that my kids were higher up on the totem pole than them, and they've always been, and they've always kept that position, you know, through us. And you know, I also taught my kids how to be around dogs properly, right? That's the other issue that you have with parents, is they just don't understand, they don't teach their kids to respect the dog at the same time. So as I'm teaching my dogs to respect kids, you know, to respect children, I'm teaching my children to respect dogs at the same time. Okay, you understand? This is like a two-way street, right? So that's how I have the peace and harmony that I have in my house, is that both of them learn to respect each other. And that's the first thing, right? And my dogs understand, like I said, where my kids sit on the totem pole in the house. And that is above them, you know, and they know that, right? By the behavior, by the things that we do, you know, with the kids and the dogs. They understand the difference. So I know it's hard for some people to understand, like it's hard to get it, you know, when they see these images or of, you know, my kids on the ground and this giant dog and he's rolling. Like, I mean, literally my kids could roll all over the dogs, and they don't care. I also, me personally, like I've been dealing with dogs for, you know, about 22 years, and, you know, I know how to read dogs and, you know, understand, you know, where they're at, where their mindset is at, just by looking at them, looking at their body language, looking at their pupils, looking at their head position, tail, loads of different things that I can look at, you know. And I also, I've been around dogs so long, like I can feel the shit when something's wrong. Like I can feel it when something's wrong with one of my dogs. Like when some shit is off, I feel it. Like, you know what I mean? And that's the difference. And I listened to that. I learned very early, yo, that internal alarm is fucking never wrong. If you feel like something's off, something's off. Listen to that. Like that's something that I've made a mistake. I've made mistakes within the past where I've like felt like something's off, and I just kind of kept moving, and then it hits. Like that was a story like when Hulk had his only singular dog fight that he got in with two of his siblings. I felt off, but I just kept going. And then when I watched back in the videos, you could see, oh my God, it was clear as day to see how off the dogs were. I just didn't see it because at that time, I was dealing with a loss. So I was just not myself. I shouldn't have been around that many dogs in that moment. You know, that was my mistake. But yeah, your intuition is a very, very strong thing. So always listen to it. But in terms of having dogs and children together, it's just about understanding boundaries, both of them. You know, for your children to understand boundaries and your dogs to understand boundaries. If they both understand the boundaries, you never have a problem. Like I said, I've been dealing with this shit for 22 years. I got one kid who's 11, other kid who's about to be 7 in a couple of weeks. My dogs have never even growled at them. We've never even had a situation remotely close. Okay, so, and these are, you see my dogs. The you know, the protection work, the big scary dogs that you see. I mean, you see them, right? So when they're in the house with my kids, I mean, these are like, they're just big giant teddy bears, you know, so protection work brings stability. Right? When you deal with, you know, proper imprinting and how you raise a dog, then your dogs become stable. Like, you know, and then you have stable, balanced dogs, you know, that you can depend on and trust. Like I said, I trust my dogs in situations more than I trust people, yo. My dogs are trustworthy. People not trustworthy. My dog's trustworthy, and they've always been. Right, so it's like I said, I trust them more than I trust people. Trust in me. I would rather have my dogs babysit before I went and found a human babysitter. I appreciate you. Oh, listen, Capo, it's balance, right? It's all about balance. You know what I mean? So it's they love the hell out of us, but this is respect, right? So that's what it is. Oh, my dogs never hurt my kids, yo. They've never hurt my kids. Like, and that's the thing where it's like, people want to, like, I always get these little comments where, like, you know, because my videos will play. I mean, I got these videos out there that are, you know, 130 million views. I mean, they're constantly, every day these videos are still getting plays, still getting comments. So every now and again you'll like pop up and it'll bring you back to like this old video, and you see somebody's comment that's like from an hour ago, but it's today, and you're like, oh, what's gonna happen with these kids? And I'm like, well, here we are. You know, the kid you're watching this video is 11 now, trains dogs himself, is very good with dogs, has extreme control over dogs. The other kid you're watching now, the other kid from the videos, you know, he's 7 now, same thing, he trains dogs, he's together, everything's fine. So they just like are expecting to hear this horror story. Right, you know what I mean? That's like what everybody expects, is these horror stories, because that's what they see in the news. And a lot of the time, look, if you put me in that household or let me watch that CCTV of these households that are having these, you know, horrific, you know, dog attacks in their houses that we're over here blaming breeds of dogs for. If you let me watch, I guarantee you I can point out the missteps in the dog etiquette in these houses in the leading weeks and months coming up to this. What you're missing that allows this dog to believe that they have the ability to challenge you, right? So like you're missing something. And that's what's going on. And I guarantee you, if I could, like I said, if I could have a window in and I could see there's things, these aren't things which will happen randomly. I mean, ever so often you get a dog that's just bad, just wired wrong, you know, which happens. Just like people, man. You get people that are just, you know, in the head. It happens with dogs. Every now and again you get dogs that are just wired a little bit wrong. You know, so it does happen, but it's very rare. Generally, the reason why your dogs are acting the way they are is because of you, and because you didn't understand how to properly raise your dog, how to implement structure into your dog's life, leadership. So the dog believes that, you know, they have a lot more power in your household than they do. You know, I got these giant powerful air of their power because I've never let it be known to them. They never get to that point, right? So, dude, can you see this guy, bro? My guy's sleeping with like his head up on the couch, like just, oh my god. Never been worried about your kids with your dogs. Oh, no, never. Stigma sticks with pit bulls as false banned from some cities. Of course. I mean, it's awful, the stigma that sticks to these dogs. But I mean, I believe I've done a lot in terms of, you know, not just being a voice and, you know, speaking for these dogs. I believe, you know, I've shown the world, you know, what it's like. Like, if I'm not living proof that all that's wrong, you know what I mean? Like, how am I different? I'm not like a fucking magician. You know what I mean? I just raised my dogs properly. You know, that's the thing. I raise my dogs properly. Like, I watch so many people that are fucking great with kids, man. Like, they're great with kids. Like, they're militant with their fucking children. And then their dogs come around and they're absolute shite. You know, and it's like, it's really common thing to see, actually. You know, people that are great with dogs and absolute shit. I mean, great with kids and absolute shit with dogs. And it makes no sense because, like, they're literally the same thing. Like, literally, how you raise your children, the same things that you implement is the same things that you need to implement to raising a dog. Like, it's, well, I'd say how you raise your children. You could be doing some ass backward shit, but for the most part, that's how it goes. Like, the way I've raised my kids is literally how I've raised my dogs. Like, I mean, it's the same thing. I don't mess about. You know, when it comes to discipline and you know, when it's time for that, I'm there for it. Like, you know, and I don't miss. I don't let them slip. I don't let them get away with anything. It's the same thing with the dogs. Like, I am on their ass like flies on shit, you know, when something happens. And that's how it works. And yeah, the other side of things, we live a great life together. You know, we have freedom, and, you know, we get to run around in the mountains, and we get to do amazing things with, you know, dog training, and we get to, you know, go on nice big group walks. We live free in the house. Like, you know, we have a good time, you know, as long as we understand proper order, like, as long as we understand structure. Wonder never recognizing a dog breed as a show dog. Which we talking about? just like a Doberman Pinscher. So, Mary, generally what happens, is like anything we're afraid of or we don't understand, we fear. Right? We fear what we don't understand. So these big dogs, like I mean, it happened for German shepherds. We feared them, blamed the shit out of them, tried to ban them. Dobermans, same thing, fear. All these things are like the German shepherd. What was that one like in the '90s? That was the dog, the '80s or the '90s. There's always a dog of the generation, right? The pit bull became the generation of 2000s beyond. Really, this is where this dog became like got this infamy. Um, and it's because you just started seeing these stories, like you started seeing these stories and started painting these pictures of these dogs, because you're seeing these stories from people who have no understanding of dogs, no control over dogs, so they don't even know what they're looking at. That's why half the time, so I have a class that I teach on Facebook, to my supporters. Same thing on here. I'm gonna do on here with you guys. If you're a member on here, I'm gonna do a dog training and dog psychology class where we can talk about all of these different things in detail. Um, sorry, like reading the comments and then like staying on track is hard. No updates on the dog in Texas. He's with my Texas franchise and he's doing great. He's gaining weight and he's chilling. He's doing good. Um, but yeah, anyway, so I teach a class on generally it's Thursdays. It's supposed to be Wednesdays on Facebook, but I teach a class in there. I'm gonna do it on here as well. So if you become a Triple G member, so if you sign up on YouTube and you become a gang, then you'll have access to doing the class with me when I go to do it. It'll just be basically like this. We'll cover loads of different topics and we can talk about loads of different things with dogs. Tyler, oh my God, who's the biggest pit bull of all? Who's your big Hulk? Hulk is my guy. Hulk. Um, Yeah, Brandon, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to do on here. Damn, I completely lost track of what I was talking about because I started reading into the comments here. I need to not do that. We need a dog show this year, my guy. We know you have some other gems locked away. Stay tuned to Dog of the Week. That's where you're gonna see my dogs. And Dog of the Week, I honestly think I'm gonna push. Dog of the week. I think I'm gonna push. I'm gonna push pretty hard. I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's fun. So like, I'm really gonna run through like, the dogs. A lot of my dogs here. Then I'll go through some of my franchises and have to run through how I want them to film certain videos. And I might even start reaching out to some of my clients to get some of my dogs like that. And then I may even start featuring other people's dogs. So I think that series has a lot of potential. So if you guys like it, I like making it. So I enjoy it. So I know you aren't into competing, but since your dogs are all over, are any of them competing in anything? I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I know the dogs that I've trained and placed, in different countries and different places all over the world, they do not do any type of competing, and that's because that's partly in my contract when I deal with dogs, because when I train dogs, how I train them, the style and how I train them can actually be dangerous for being in like a sport type of setting. So I didn't want to be responsible for anything like that. So when I place dogs like that, I generally do not like them to compete or go and do anything like that. So that's actually one of the rules that is inside of the contract. But in terms of just like fun stuff, I really actually don't know. Lisa and her team are really the ones that stay pretty attached to the clients. I unfortunately am pretty busy, so I'm kind of here and there, and I get kind of the trickle information. So like, I'll see the pictures and I get the information like, when I'm like laying down on my bed with Lisa or we're talking, then I kind of get I get it. But throughout the day, I don't really get to see as much as everybody else. But I don't know. I'll ask her. But yeah, in terms of sport training or anything like that, I don't allow my dogs that I train to go into that. Yeah, well, the reason is because there's a major difference in in sport training right? And when they're dog sports and actual protection work, right? So it's very different, you know, and truthfully become very dangerous for a long time. Like Nara, you know, they really wanted me to compete and you know, put my dogs in the French ring and title them, and you know what I mean. It's like I it wasn't for me. I went out, you know, when they were really kind of pressing me to do it. I went out there and I saw some of the events. No lie, dude, I was almost asleep out there. It's fun, but it's just not for me. The level of realism isn't there. The things that they do are not. Some of the things are very not real. So, like for example, I teach my dogs to transfer. So if they're biting a leg and you came down and you had a gun or something, or you went to try to stab the dog, right? As soon as you come up over the top, that dog's gonna let go of the leg and is gonna grab onto your hand. So in dog sports, they're not really that. Actually, they frown on that in different things, in different situations, which they'd rather have a dog that gets on a bite, right? Gets on a bite, and they put a gun right here, and bang, 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 and they drive the dog, and they want to see the dog stay on the bite because that shows that the dog, to the dog world, has strong nerves, right? Well, to me, what that shows me is, okay, the dog is biting me, and this is a protection dog. A gun comes out and shoots the dog. Now the dog's dead. So, how is that good? But I get in sport, it's good. But in the world of keeping you alive, well, you're dead. So the dog bites on and it sees this, it needs to come from here to here ASAP. And if they don't, you're in trouble. And in dog sports, they do a lot of, you know, waving the batons and like, so the dog bites the leg and they're just driving the dog, kicking the leg, moving their arms all around. Bro, my dogs would come off of that leg and grab onto your arm, and they're not you know, they're just not prepared for it. So there's just danger in it. So that is why it's in the contracts that I don't do stuff like that. That the dogs are not allowed to compete. You need to write a book. Oh man, I've been writing a book, brother. I've been writing a book. This is from the last meeting with my writer. So, but yeah, these are parts from my book. But yeah, I've been writing a book. But yeah, for probably about a year and a half now. Podcast, you have the voice and the content. You just need a co-host or two. Yeah, dude, I'd love to. I'd love to do a podcast. I actually have, I have a name reserved. So I had a podcast, and I was supposed to be getting the big, you know, the big things for the wall. So it was called Hulk Talks, right? And it's on Facebook. I mean, it's on Instagram. I already have the pages for it and stuff because I was working on it. And then just a lot of things came in the way, but I'll show you here. So I already got the logo and everything for the podcast. So it's Hulk Talks. But you can follow it too if you want to, like as soon as it becomes live, you'll be able to follow it. So it's just Hulk Talks on Instagram. Where can I buy it? So it's not out yet. Capo is not out yet, but I'm working on it. It should be the final drafts. Like we should be hopefully done wrapping up this writing, hopefully like late spring. And then throughout the summer, maybe it'll be available going into the fall next year, or I'm hoping, but it's a really long process, man. I'll tell you that. It's a really long process, but I'll show you so you guys know I'm not into bullshit either, but I mean, I'll show you like what we got here, a little bit of what's going on here so you can see what a book in parts looks like. This is what a book in parts looks like, so I can I'll explain to you some of the chapters here. So this is about my family. Like this is about my family, my brother, and different things. So this is about my first dog. And I'll give you the first sentence of this so you can understand where this is, and if you didn't know this. Ever since I was little, I was terrified of dogs. So if you didn't know, I was actually afraid of dogs. So you'll learn all about that in this, but this is, and you can see here, they're all little sections, and you can see I got like my notes I got my notes written all over everything. But yes, I was afraid of dogs, so you can learn about that there as well. I don't know what that is there. I think this is about Dog Dynasty. Damon and Nala, the beloved gift of life. So this is about when I almost sold my business after something crazy happened, and I almost completely left and walked away from dogs. That's this right here. This is when, yeah, okay, this is when I was homeless in Atlanta. And I went over there and ended up homeless as fuck over there. That happened. There's a reason they call it dog file. Yeah, this is the Ace story. That's that there. The birth of a dynasty. This is all about my TV series and what I went through, you know, on that end of the spectrum. Kind of like the behind the scenes stuff on why you didn't see certain things on the TV show and stuff like that. This one's called My Situation with Fame. This is just about how, like, you know, fame and being known, how it forever changed my life, and you know, the way things are and how it's hard to deal with, you know, at times. You know, not having much privacy when you travel, or, you know, being able to have like kind of like alone time anywhere you are. This is about Steve and Shadow. That's like a big part there. That's obviously a massive part. And this is about Ace. This is a story about Ace. Same thing. That's a tough one. That's a fucking real tough one. That was a tough one to write or to read over. This is about... It's crazy how much we have, man. So this is when Sosa chased my horse, and they almost got hit by a car on the highway. That was fucking insane. Yeah, this is something about my visions on like money and business growth, because on the bottom it says money reduces stress, which is true, and it brings stress. It does a bit of both. So I mean, you're getting the point here. So this one you guys will obviously like. This one's titled Dog Training and Psychology. So this is just like a lot about my philosophies on dogs and you know, how I've come up in the dog game. Then this is about the time I was somebody tried to rob me when I had Ace as a puppy. This is about other bigger dog names in the dog industry, how they were all, you know, threatened by me, and all the different things that happened, you know, the new guy coming into the frame, you know, the whole, you guys probably know the little story about the whole Pitbulls and Parolees thing there. There's a little bit on that in there. But I mean, you get the point. The point is, holy shit, I got lots of writing in this thing. And yes, I've been writing a book for some years. And it's not me. I have a writer. So basically, we have lots of interviews, and that's how the book is written. I don't write it. I haven't been like physically writing it myself. But I have a writer, and we've had loads and loads and loads of interviews over the past year and a half, and he writes all the stuff. He's an incredible writer, my guy Jamie. And he puts everything together. So that's going to be a huge venture. I'm trying to put together a bestseller. So pretty sure we got one. Honestly, it's pretty intriguing book. There's a lot in it. So I think you guys will enjoy it. But anyways, I never lie to you. So right now, nature is calling me. I need to go hit the old bathroom. But YouTube, like I said, I'm here for it, yo. I'm here for it. I'm here for y'all. I'm back here. Can I get more thumbs up? Can we get to 100 just real quick, yo? Y'all just but I got to poo. So like, if we're going to do it, we got to do it quick. So if everybody could just smash the thumbs up button just real quick, get me to 100 so I could hit the old, you know what I mean? Just real quick if you could. I'd love you guys, because there's 51 people in here. No, there's no way everybody hit the thumb. So if just a few of you could just hit the thumbs up button, I'd appreciate it. That would be amazing, you know? Just if we could get to 100, that's awesome. Thank you, guys. See? You ask and you shall receive. That's what I'm talking about. See? I love y'all, man. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Bless y'all. Thank you. Ask and you shall receive, right? The only bad question ask is the one that you never ask. Remember that. Always ask questions. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, I gotta poop, y'all. So I love y'all. I appreciate you guys. Sorry that story time was kind of shit because I didn't really quite remember everything that happened, but I'm gonna repost that vlog right now while I'm pooping. I'm gonna screen grab it off of my phone because I don't want to dig through the files. So I'm gonna screen grab it and then I'm gonna repost that video for you guys in a sec, so you can actually relive the moment when I was bit through my Achilles, and you can hear me and see me going to all these different doctors and dealing with all the things that I had to deal with. So I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you so much. Make sure you leave a comment, leave a thumb. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. YouTube, I'm here for y'all. I'm back. So, like, I'm back. I'm back. If you ain't showing that I'm back in the last couple of days, the way I'm doing, like, I'm here, yo. I'm back. I'm here for it. So, I love y'all. No, listen, Capo, you get, bro, I'm a poo guy. I talk about it. I talk about anything, you know. I ain't shy. So, if I gotta go, I gotta go. So, I got to, I've busted a live mom when I've been in there before, bro. Look, I ain't shy. Look, I love y'all. I appreciate you guys. Much love, peace, love, respect in life. You know, go out there, do something positive for somebody. You know, that's what the world needs. The world needs love and positive people. Be that. All right, y'all.